Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? As we inch closer to the NFL draft, everybody's making their predictions. Who the Saints going to take at 9? You're seeing 7-round mock drafts, all that good stuff. I am always more interested in what concrete evidence we have as opposed to people's opinions. What I mean is, if the Saints send a bevy of front office executive to a team's pro day, that gets my attention. If the Saints use one of their top 30 visits to bring a prospect to their facility to work him out privately and get to know them, that has my attention. A media member doing a mock draft doesn't necessarily have my attention as much because it's their opinion, and it could be educated, and I'll pay attention to it a little bit, but it's not as interesting as something like this. So when the Saints bring someone in for a top 30 visit, my antenna is going to go up, and I'm curious about who it is, what their background is, how they may fit, what position they play, all that stuff. And Ian Rappaport reported that Louisville defensive back Quincy Riley took a top 30 visit to the Saints. Now, if you don't know the name, that's okay. He's a big corner, just under 5'11", 194 pounds, got a 31-inch wingspan. So, or 31-inch arms. So he's got a huge wingspan and reach, which really fits the mold of what the Saints have looked for in a defensive back. Now, the caveat, the asterisk, the parenthetical note is, whenever we've had a conversation about what the Saints look for, that's been with Dennis Allen. And they have wanted bigger cornerbacks. If it was Marshon Lattimore, if it was Paulson Adebo, if it's Alante Taylor, like they've wanted that certain mold of defensive back. I don't know if that's what Brandon Staley is going to want. We'll find out. And then we'll also find out if Staley or Kellen Moore have the autonomy to make that decision, or if it's still Mickey Loomis or Jeff Ireland. Like, we're going to learn a lot throughout this process with the new staff. For what it's worth, Jeff Brom, the head coach at Louisville, had this to say about his pupil, Quincy Riley.
Well, Quincy's an outstanding corner, and he has been all year long. He's just got great instincts. He's got great feel. He understands the position. He's really smart. He's a guy back there you have to account for, and I think he just always comes through when we need it. So very proud of him. He's been a leader of our defense. He's been able to play the entire year, and he's just done a great job. All
right, so that's high praise from the coach. Great leader. Great defensive back. You love to hear all that. Like, you love to hear the check marks and all the superlatives. If you asked me the New Orleans Saints' biggest needs in this draft, or even musts, like, you cannot come out of this draft without a player at this position, I would actually argue that offensively, the position is receiver. You cannot come out of this draft without an impact receiver. Number 2, I would put offensive line, because you still don't have a left guard. You signed Dylan Radins in free agency, but that feels maybe like a Band-Aid, and you could be finding like the next guy that'll start for 10 years for you. Defensively, I would tell you the number 1 must defensively is cornerback. Like, you would love to have another pass rusher, but you paid Chase Young. You already paid Carl Granderson. You drafted Isaiah Foskey. You still got Cam Jordan. Like, you've got bodies there, and you've got investment there. I still keep telling you I would love Mason Graham at number 9 overall at defensive tackle. But, like, you traded for a defensive tackle, in Devon Gottschall. You've still got Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard and Brian Brzee. So, like, you've got numbers and contracts and veterans there. I think you need depth at linebacker, but your 2 starters are entrenched right now in Demario Davis and Pete Werner. At safety, you've got Tyron, and you just spent a bunch of money on Justin Reed. You got to get a cornerback. The 2 starters for you a year ago, week 1, are gone. You traded Marshon Lattimore, and Paulson Adebo is now with the Giants. And while I think Kool-Aid McKinstry has a really high ceiling, can certainly play the boundary in the NFL, a year ago, when Adebo got hurt and you traded Lattimore, you kicked Alante Taylor outside. Y'all, I was looking at this today. Alante Taylor played 605 snaps as a wide corner, 358 in the slot. So he effectively, whenever you traded Lattimore and Adebo was hurt, you had to kick Alante Taylor outside. His overall defensive grade was a 45, according to PFF. His coverage grade was a 35.4. That's out of 100. His tackling grade was a 36. Alante Taylor was a straight liability for you defensively last year. And I think that's in part because he's playing out of position. I think he's either a slot corner or he's a safety. I do not think Alante Taylor can play boundary corner in the NFL. That's my opinion. I may very well be wrong. He may start there next season, have an all-pro year, and you can all point and laugh at me, and I would be thrilled if you did because it means they hit on this guy and he can play boundary corner. I just think what's revealed is that ain't his best spot. He might have been a very good or competent boundary corner in college. I think in the NFL, everybody finds what their spot is. And I think for him, it's slot or safety. And we'll see where that may go eventually. But that means you have got to draft a cornerback. Whether you plan to put whoever you draft out wide or in the slot, you got to get one. It's a non-negotiable. So when I start to look at someone like Quincy Riley, who the Saints have brought in as a top 30 visit, that could be someone that they target with the 40th overall pick in round 2. Maybe it's someone, if you last to round 3, you're pumped about that to get him. But ultimately, what you're talking about is you got Will Johnson from Michigan, who could be on the board for New Orleans at 9, and if they choose to take a cornerback there, I'm pumped. I've been very transparent about this. When you are as bad as the Saints are and you need everything, whatever you do at 9, if you take one of the top players in the draft at that respective position, I'm going to be pumped. You take Will Campbell, awesome. You either have a starting left guard or you move Penning in and you have a starting right tackle. There's whatever you do. If you take Will Johnson, you got a day one starter at corner, awesome. If you take Mykel Williams or James Pierce, great. You can never have too many edge rushers, and you were middle of the pack last year in the NFL, 20th in the NFL in sacks a year ago. You see, if you take Tetairoa McMillan, I'm pumped. You get a big-bodied receiver, which you don't have right now, that's going to help your offense get going a little bit. You see what I mean? It doesn't matter what you do at 9, I'm going to be pumped. But if you don't go Will Johnson at 9, if you don't get a corner there, you are going to need to be looking in very short order at someone that can be an immediate impact guy for you. And I understand last year you took Kool-Aid, and 2 years ago you took Alante. But it's all been, the need is magnified because of the fact that you lost Paulson Adebo in free agency and you traded Marshon Lattimore. I don't mind that you traded Lattimore. I think it was the right decision. Clearly, look at how he played down the stretch. I mean, you were able to get a valuable draft asset in exchange for an aging player. Fantastic. I'm very much okay with the trade. But I think a lot of us were operating under the assumption that the Saints were going to be able to re-sign Paulson Adebo, and he got a massive deal from New York, and good for him. But it just magnified the need at cornerback. And I would say defensively, that is your single biggest must. You cannot come out of this draft without a cornerback who can be an immediate impact guy for you. And I think that means at 9 or at 40, you're looking at cornerback. And or they could always trade up, or trade back up or back in, which they're want to do from time to time. But it's one of those things that you got to be able to address in this draft. Not take a day 3 flyer on a guy and hope that he emerges for you. It's find a guy that you expect can be an immediate impact guy, and it's at that spot. And it was necessitated by the roster decisions you made, letting Paulson Adebo walk in free agency and trading Marshon Lattimore. Again, which I'm okay. I'm okay with those, but you got to address it. And you didn't in free agency means you have to in the draft. So file this name away. Quincy Riley from Louisville, a guy they liked enough not only to send cornerbacks coach Grady Brown to the Louisville Pro Day, but also to bring Quincy Riley to New Orleans for a top 30. And he was also a Senior Bowl participant, so the Saints got a good look at him there as well. Dude checks a lot of boxes. A name that we should be keeping an eye on, Quincy Riley from Louisville. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.